The USA Water Polo presents Individual Defensive Skills, starring USA Olympian Brad Schumacher. With 2 Olympic gold medals in swimming and a world championship in water polo, Brad Schumacher is one of the few individuals in the world who can claim to be a world champion in 2 sports. In this video, Brad will show you the drills and skills that have made him one of the best conditioned and top defensive specialists in the world of water polo today.
Hi, I'm Brad Schumacher. Before we get started with the fundamentals of defense, let's take a moment and talk about the foundation necessary to be a great water polo player. First, you need to be a great swimmer, and secondly, you have to have strong legs. During this video, you will see skills and drills that will help you become a defensive champion and strengthen your legs. Let's go check it out.
Now we'll cover some of the drills that will help you become a defensive champion. These drills should be practiced often, so they're a reaction and not a thought process.
The importance of developing strong legs for good defense cannot be overemphasized. Leg strength and proper leg techniques are essential for maintaining proper defensive positioning and for maintaining constant defensive pressure during a game. And nothing gets your legs in better condition than water work. Weighted balls or water bottles can be held for timed intervals or used for egg beatering in lateral, forward, or backward directions. Exercises simulating shot blocking movement should be part of every practice. Vertical jumping ability is critical for intercepting passes and blocking shots. You need to keep your hips and hands close to the surface for maximum lift. The power-up is a strengthening and conditioning exercise for both your arms and legs. Like the power-up, the stationary tripod exercises are most effective when performed all out in a series of 10 to 15 second timed intervals. Mastering the change of direction is critical for reacting to a change of possession or executing a drop defense. The knees are drawn up into the chest and the hands scull the torso over the hips, followed by a powerful scissor kick. As backward movements are essential to the football cornerback, the water polo player must master backing up in the water to play effective defense. Egg beater wars are a fun way to develop resistance conditioning and leg and arm strength. Wrestling, grabbing, and holding are a part of water polo. And arm wrestling is both a leg and arm strengthening exercise that will help you to prevent the grabs and break the holds of the offensive players. The back shove is another great conditioner for the positioning battles at 2 meters. Leapfrog is a heavy resistance training exercise that's both fun and exhausting. When holding the other player up, don't let your head drop underwater. Double overarm passing with a weighted ball develops strong shoulders and strong legs. In this exercise, get up as high as you can out of the water to catch the ball.
Let's take a look at one-on-one drive defense. In the press defense, with the ball at the left-hander's wing, my objective is to send the driver away from the ball. I do not want him to get ball side. So as I'm finding the ball, I'm maintaining contact, constantly moving my head, finding the ball, but I always have contact with the driver. Just not heavy, but just enough so I know where he is. When he begins to move, I'm just going to rotate over my hips and go with him.
It's important to have proper hip and body position when guarding the driver on the perimeter. With your hips down, the driver will have the advantage for a quick drive right by you.
As a defender, I can dictate where the driver goes. I keep my hips up and I slide my body in front of his so that he cannot drive towards the left-hander's wing. I'm going to force him to drive to to the right-hander's side away from the ball.
By maintaining ball side positioning against the drive, you will either force the driver to go in the direction you want him to go, or you will draw an offensive foul.
If you do get caught away from your man during the press, it's important that you go at the offensive player with good balance. If I go at him too hard, he's going to use my momentum against me and go right by me. I want to take my hands and I want to make sure when I'm going at him that my right hand is low because the ball's at the left-hander's wing. So we're at the right-hander's wing, I would do the exact opposite. My left hand would be low. So as I approach him, I'm staying balanced and low in the water so that he doesn't use my momentum against me and beat me on a drive.
A good defensive player always has his head on a swivel and is ready to help his other teammates when there's a drive behind him. He has the ability to go over his hips, help on that offensive player, and then get back to his man in order to prevent goals. Here, my eyes are focused on the offensive player. This is often called face guarding. If I face guard, I'm not able to help my other teammates, and I'm not able to put myself into a counter position to score goals at the other end.
For me, shot blocking is a matter of pride. It requires a special personal discipline to stop shots that are your responsibility. It's important that you keep your arm high, your body position up really high. It takes hard work to be a good shot blocker, and it's important that you look the ball into your hand. So when the shooter has the ball up, I'm matching arms with him, and I'm coming up high so that I can make sure I get a piece of the ball and knock it away from the goal. Moving with him, I'm mirroring the ball so that I'm always knowing where the ball is, but out of the corner of my eye, I can still see my hand. I don't want my hand to go behind me because then it'll be just a 50-50 chance of whether or not I'm going to block his shot. So I'm keeping up, I'm staying high position, and I'm staying up with him the whole time. And when he shoots eventually, I'm going to block it down.
In these international game situations, you can see just how effective good perimeter shot blocking technique can be in protecting the cage.
Against the left-hander, I'm going to put up my right hand to mirror his arm and block his shot. With the fundamental skills of shot blocking, you will help your team funnel the ball to your goalie and also keep the ball out of the goal.
Here, the defenders seal off both sides of the cage and steer the ball right to the goalie. Your first move should be to protect the corner and then match hands. It's a big goal, and your goalie's going to need your help to keep the ball out of the cage.
A good defensive player always knows how much time is left on the shot clock. As the time expires, I'm going to position myself with a counter lane to the other goal. I want to be able to beat this offensive player to my offensive end. So I'm going to slide over, I'm going to stay pressed on him, I'm going to make sure that he's not going to catch a quick backdoor drive, but I'm going to be ready to take off on him. Towards the end of the shot clock, I want to make sure that if my player ends up with the ball, that I'm going towards him to disrupt his shot and also put myself in a counter lane. So as he raises up to shoot, I'm going to try to get as much contact as I can with his arm. He'll probably get the shot off or will drop the ball, but in this motion, I'll move into a counter position and I'll be already ahead of him going to the offensive end.
Conversely, if you're on offense, you have to think defense so that you don't get countered as the shot clock winds down. But if you do get countered, don't swim over the back of the offensive player. Keep swimming until you gain an advantage and then cut him off.
Now let's go check out the press.
Generally speaking, you don't want to foul on the perimeter because fouling stops the clock, gives more time to the offense, and gives your opponents a free throw. It's much harder to pass under pressure, so be patient and try not to foul. Your patience may be rewarded by forcing a bad pass, or by earning a ball under, or by making a steal. You may have to foul, as in the situation where the offensive player tries to turn you. But if you do get turned on the perimeter, don't get excluded. Keep your hands up and wait for help. To prevent the offensive player from receiving the ball, confront the man by positioning yourself between the offensive player and the ball. And when the ball's on the side of the pool, position yourself in the passing lanes.
In a drop defense, often I'm going to have to foul my player and get back to help. So I'm going to go towards the ball. I'm going to catch a piece of the ball, push it away, go over my hips to prevent the ball from going to 2 meters. Let's check it out at full speed.
By using good techniques, the defensive player can drop back quickly and keep the ball away from the 2-meter player. When fouling in this situation, play the ball and not the man, or you might draw an exclusion.
In this gapping situation on the counterattack, I'm trying to slow down the offensive team to let my defensive player catch up. It's a 2-on-1 situation, so I have to stunt back and forth, not overcommitting to one player. I'm trying to just slow him down so that my defensive player can get back and help me on defense. The 2-meter defender is thought by many to be the most important defensive player. You always have to be one step ahead of the offensive player in order to prevent goals.
And the best way to get that advantage is by scouting your opponents. What are their strengths and weaknesses? Are they right-handed? Left-handed? Can they shoot a backhand? A layout? Are they strong enough to turn? Do they look to pass? If you play in front, can they go back door? The primary goal for all defensive teams should be to keep the ball out of 2 meters. And the best way to keep the 2-meter player from getting the ball is by fronting him or playing on the ball side. Pick up the 2-meter player as soon as possible and continue to defend him all the time. Force him outside the 4-meter area where he's less dangerous. But outside of 3 or 4 meters, you'll need to play behind him because you're too far out to get help from your goalie. In this international action, the defender does a good job in forcing the 2-meter player outside the 4-meter line. But once they get outside the 4-meter line, the defender makes the critical mistake of not getting between his man and the goal. And this results in an easy goal. Underwater, you can see the reason why the defender didn't get back is because he was being held by the offensive player. Don't let him grab you. When you must play behind the 2-meter player, play to his strong side, or behind the left shoulder of the right-handed player, or right shoulder of the lefty, to prevent a turning shot. Be patient. Don't commit too far to one side or you may get turned, or give up a good backhand shot. Apply strong and constant horizontal pressure outward while maintaining your position between the 2-meter man and the goal. This will provide your teammates with the opportunity to help you out. Some common mistakes that cause exclusions at 2 meters are flailing at the ball, sinking with the elbows, and elevating off the offensive player. Generally, these exclusions are caused by playing directly behind the offensive player. When you play to the strong side, you give the 2-meter player a backhand opportunity. By trying to grab his arm, you actually assist the shot by pulling the arm in the direction of the throw. Instead, be patient. To stop the backhand, block the elbow. If he pushes off to go back door, exaggerate the push. If you grab him, you might be excluded. The keys to defending against the layout are keeping your hips up and applying constant horizontal pressure. When he turns on his back, press down on his chest with one hand and block with the other. With your hips down, he gets space and scores. The best way to prevent a suit grab is to properly position yourself on the strong side shoulder with your hips up. But if you do get grabbed, spin immediately to force a release of the hold. The best advice for all players is to wear a tight-fitting suit that cannot be easily grabbed. If you play with your arms over the shoulders of the offensive player, you make it easy for him to fake a foul. It's virtually impossible for the referee to see what the offensive player is doing, so don't play with your hands over his shoulders. In this actual game footage, you can see the offensive player using this technique to draw the exclusion. And here the offensive player grabs the defender's arm, turns, and scores. Another defensive mistake that could result in a goal is reaching too far under the arms of the offensive player or grabbing his torso. After a change of possession, counter hard. Get the 2-meter player on your backside. Tire him, frustrate him, and work to get him excluded. The tired offensive player will be much easier to defend next time down the pool.
We have all heard the saying, defense wins games. However, this can only hold true when each individual player utilizes and masters the fundamental skills of defense. I encourage you to watch this video often so you can master the skills of defense and take your team to a championship season. I'm Brad Schumacher. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.